on a screw gun. 10 times easier. Now we gotta test this out and see if all the other parts work on this. Like, that's this is gonna be a problem again. Okay. Now this should turn. Well, that's probably why, because I had this thing probably set up at a quarter throttle. Okay. As we can see, it is completely, the handle is complete. The new throttle linkage is installed. All we gotta do is put this one T27 screw back that secures the handle to the rest of the frame. Or at least connects the handle to the other part of the handle. Okay. Back in business, ladies and gents. All we gotta do is then plug this part right here. And we'll do it right here so we can show you a little bit what we're trying to do is trying to reconnect the throttle cable in this part, in this plastic piece right here, which I think we're going to have to use a little bit of power of the pliers to get it in. Okay, that's snapped back in. Then all we do is take the linkage right here, you slip it into the slot right here. Now, one thing we do here, we gotta do this right. You test that. If the throttle moves like that, then we know everything's okay. Now, one thing we definitely have to do is we definitely have to reconnect that one little post that we accidentally pulled out, and that is to reconnect that back to the ignition module so that this thing can actually work. Because if you don't reconnect it back to the ignition module, it's not even going to work. It's not even going to start. So that's all reconnected and back in place. Let's try to tuck the wires up as much as we can. Okay, we got. Well, we do got some little slits in the actual cabling itself. All we'll do is we'll just get a little bit of electrical tape and just tape that back up. Actually, I'll go get that right now and just do that while I have the room to do it. It's always good to have electrical tape, because then we'll put it on these parts of the wire that are exposed so that nothing touches. Nothing shorts out, because if it shorts out, that means I gotta buy a brand new wiring for that, and that means take apart this whole entire handle again. And believe me, last thing I want to do is have to spend more money on this project. I'll just take the gloves off because it'll just make it a lot easier to do this. Get your utility knife. Just make sure you're not in the way of it. Okay, that's all put back together. Just hope that all works. Now let's get back to the nitty-gritty. Well, just getting the throttle cable back on just makes it feel so much better. Now I think we're gonna get back to the nitty-gritty part, and that is actually installing the grommet, and also the oil, and also the air. Installing the grommet that goes to the oil filter, that goes to the gas tank. And one thing we're going to do also before that is we're going to install the oil filter, because we want to make sure that the fuel filter on. There you go. That is the fuel filter and grommet. Fuel filter goes back into the tank, and the grommet you just slowly work in. Like I said, you could use penetrating oil, or just use a screwdriver, but just make sure to be very careful when you do use a flathead screwdriver not to pierce the grommet in any way. There he goes. New grommet is installed into the for the fuel filter, so that's always a good thing. And to install the other grommet, that will go where the where the one line that goes into the Oh, see? And then you have the new grommet that goes to where the fuel line that will go to the fuel line that will go from this point here where my index finger's at, will go from there all the way to the carb. And then we'll have the fuel line that will go, this is the fuel line that will go from bottom here all the way to there. Pretty much once we get this together, I can actually start this thing up and see how it works, which is something I'm probably going to do because I really want to see if this thing actually works or not. Great, there's another relay that we mistakenly pulled out. How nice. When I did that, I would have felt like that pretty much all our work was pretty much left wasted. You can see where it goes. Just bend that relay back kind of like that. See if I can straighten that thing out a little bit. I don't want to have to freaking put a brand new ignition coil on this, because then that means taking this whole damn thing apart, and I do not want to mess with that. Okay. As we can see, we damaged a little bit of the plastic. Just use a little bit of electrical tape and hopefully that solves the problem. Because like I say, I do not want to buy brand new hardware for this. Okay, and I don't know if it's probably be wise to actually install the fuel line that goes from well, in this particular situation, all we're going to do is just going to make a little slit where the old line's at, and we're just going to peel it off. I want this thing to come off so I can actually just finish this thing and be done with it. Oh, sweet. Fantastic. All we're going to do now is take our new fuel line. We are going to take a tape measure. Now this is supposed to be about a foot long. I was told that if I cut it at least in half that I shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. So actually they gave me a little bit more than I needed. So I'll just make a cut. Just pretty much made a mark. There I go. These are my two new pieces of hose that will go to the gas tank. Now usually with new hose, you kind of start to force it on there. Because the new hose is going to be a little bit tight. Cool. That will run right here to the actual line itself, and then the next line will run from here all the way to the gas tank. So we're doing really good, actually. Doing real good. Just have to go in my little box of junk and see if I can actually find that piece. Aha! Here it is. Here's what I was looking for, just that little plastic connection. And like before, just get the utility knife. Better do this actually on the counter than on my leg. I don't want to slice my nice pants and also slice open my leg. There you go. Slipped off. As you can see, this little part right here is actually going to be inserted into the tank itself, into the little grommet. And it's going to be a nice little snug fit on it, on the through the grommet, which is good. That means we get a good connection. Might trim a little bit off of this because really, I'm not going to need that much. I'm not going to need that much slack. So go back to our wire. Go back to the trusty little wire snips. Just hunk a little hose off. I mean, if I have a little bit of excess, if I have a little bit of it left, it's not that big of a deal to me. Or was it this piece that went in? Is it this piece that goes in? Mm-hmm. Wrong side, ladies and gents. Wrong side. Okay, that did not work out. Because pretty much the grommet just went back inside. Luckily, I can fish it out with the filter. No big deal. just do it that way. There. There, ladies and gents, problem solved. Got the hose back on. All I gotta do is just reinstall the grommet, which is kind of a pain in the butt because I just wasted all my time putting it on beforehand. But at least this time I'll actually install it the right side, so it's okay. There we go. Right side. Get the recoil out of the way. Put the hose back in. And as you can see, we're actually almost there. I'm running about an hour on this. Okay, there we go. We have the grommet back on. Now in this particular case, all we do is we just slip the gas tank back on under the recoil. We go down here to where the two T27 bolts are at. Screws are at. Make sure I get the right wrench. And just tighten the tank back on. And it's pretty much done with the tank. Of course, you know, we still have that one more piece we got to put in of fuel line. And that's going from of course, one thing we can do now is we can actually reinsert the gas cap. As you can see, we're almost there. Just got to run that last little fuel line. And once we're done with that, I can actually put some gas in this and actually start it up and see if it fires or not. Because this is in stop. This is in